Greetings. I'm back. Greetings and welcome. Missed you guys all last week, and it's good to see you. 3 little voice mastery techniques, 3 little voice issues that will absolutely change your life. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And whatever you want to engage in. As you know, every week we talk about whatever's on your mind. Hello, Gabriella. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hello. And so just join in, comment, make your comments, ask your questions, whatever it is. Those of you who don't know me, some of you may know me as best-selling author of 3 books, one in the area of sales, business development, team development, and personal development. And also as a rich dad advisor, Robert Kiyosaki. But here, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on little voice mastery and any of the other techniques that I can support you with that'll help you succeed in what you're doing. So get your friends into the conversation. And I'm online. Share this with other people. Like it, share it, comment on it, and we'll go after it. Okay. Again, my name is Blair Singer, and welcome to Mastering 3 Little Voice Issues That Will Change Your Life. Okay. Now, none of these issues are anything that'll be any surprise to you, but the way they work may. And the way you correct it might also be a little bit of a surprise to you. So again, my name is Blair, and welcome. Hello from, I believe, Nguyen Lan Thi from Vietnam. Excellent. Good to see you. Come on into our conversation and ask whatever questions you have. Anything that I can't answer, I'm going to refer you. You go to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel. Lots of more content and lots of great depth on how you can master the little voice and have an extraordinary life. If that's of interest to you. If it's also of interest to you to be making a little bit more money, be a little bit happier as things get crazy outside, then stay tuned, okay? So what's the first one? From Belgium. Very nice. Thank you. So what's the issue? The first little voice issue I wanted to talk about was procrastination, right? Everybody does it. I do it. You do it. We all do it. Procrastinate. Why do we procrastinate? And what's the cost of procrastinating? And how do you handle it? How do you handle procrastination if you know that you're doing it once you catch yourself doing it? So what is procrastinating? Procrastinating is not doing what you're supposed to be doing when you're supposed to be doing it. Okay, I'll say it again. Procrastination is simply not doing what you're supposed to be doing when you're supposed to be doing it. And so why is that? Well, let's use an example. Let's say you have, good to see you as well, Tom Cook. I want to ask how to deliver content in a powerful manner. Anshu. Okay, Anshu. We'll get to that one later if we have some time. Powerful presentation. Okay, good. Okay, so why you procrastinate? Well, here's why. Let's take an example that all of you should be wanting to write a book. If you're a speaker, trainer, leader, business owner, you should document what you've learned and pass it on to the next generation. That's your responsibility to do that. So let's just say you're going to write a book, but you don't, and you get all set to do it, and you're going, I got some other things to do today. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll set aside time tomorrow. And tomorrow comes, and mysteriously, you get phone calls and you're called to other conference calls and you have live streaming to do and you got other things to do. It's fine. I'll get to it later in the week. You understand the pattern? It keeps going and going and going. You keep pushing it off until finally you actually have time. You actually have time. You set aside time. You discipline yourself. I'm going to do this. And you sit down the keyboard to start to write something. And what happens? Your brain goes blank, nothing there. And then you're thinking, oh my God, I need to be inspired to do this. And then the next thought, little voice is, well, who's going to want to listen to what I have to say anyway? Who's going to want to listen to what I have to say? I'm not that successful. I'm just going to put this off for a while, put it on the back burner. Now, what you've done, watch this. This is what you've done. You've taken your dream, yourself, a book, which is a reflection of you and all the things that you've learned, and you've taken it and you've just made all the other things more important than that book. In other words, all cleaning your desk, cleaning your garage, running some errands, all that stuff that got filled into the space, you have actually, what you've done is placed it with more importance in your life than actually putting the book together. Why do you do that? Why do you do that? The reason, well, one of the reasons you do it, remember, we've talked about it in the past, your little voice is there to, quote unquote, protect you, right? To protect you. Protect you from what? Protect you from ridicule, from people not liking you, people rejecting you, protecting you from being disappointed, all these things. So what happens is you put off the things that you want that are really important to you, not necessarily the easy things, because some of them may be difficult, but you've done difficult things before, right? But you put these things off because you've allowed your little voice to put more importance and value on all the trivial garbage in your life, as opposed to the things that are most important, like going out. Maybe you want to invest in property or real estate. And so you're going to go out and you're going to look at properties, but you don't. And you put it off and you put it off. So now what you've done, you've taken the trivia things in your life, the unimportant things, the common things, and you've let that be more important than your financial freedom. Didn't think about it that way, did you? Okay, greetings from Netherlands. Good to see you. Can you talk about Buckminster Fuller, mystique? We were not born perfect. Okay, Gaurav. Yeah, we can talk about mystique. Okay, we'll get to that. Awesome. Imperfection is okay. You must be having something going on in your life right now, Gaurav, to be asking all these questions about not being perfect. Are you having an imperfect day, an imperfect week? It's all good. It's all good, my friend. So back to procrastination. So how do you handle this? Here's how you handle it. When you set a goal for yourself that's a big goal, not a goal of like cleaning your desk or cleaning your closet or running to the cleaners or going to the grocery store. But when you set a goal for yourself that has some magnitude to it, some power, here's what you do. Sit down and make a list of all the reasons why you want to do it. Why do I want to write this book? Why do I want to be financially free? Why? And make a list and just make an exhaustive list. When you get to 10 reasons why, take a deep breath, stand up, do 5 jumping jacks, sit down and write 10 more reasons why. And then maybe even 10 more. Get up to 30 reasons why you want to do this and write them all down. Now, why am I asking you to do that? Because now when you think about putting it off and not and allowing other things to get in the way, there'll be a little bit more weight and leverage on the side of you not procrastinating, okay? But if you don't, if it's a casual thought and you don't have a bunch of reasons why, your habits, your bad habits, the trivia, all the other things in life that get in the way will get in your way. It will get in the way. And I'll tell you that the cost of that is your bigness. The cost of that is your ability to lead. The cost of that is other people being able to benefit from your knowledge. Okay? So that's procrastination. Procrastination is simply your little voice getting in the way, convincing you that what you have to offer is not good enough, not strong enough, you're not experienced enough, all that stuff that takes you right out of the game when you could be changing people's lives. You could be changing your own life. You could be changing the lives of your family and the people around you. Okay? So that's procrastination. It's not just a bad habit. It's what you've done is you've devalued you and you've put more value on all of the other nonsense that you have to do every single day. Now, I'm not saying it's nonsense per se, but what I am saying is that if you give yourself half of a opportunity, your little voice and the world will give you plenty of things to do to stop you or to get in the way from you doing the big things, okay? All right? So that's a little bit on procrastination. The second one, because I promised these 3 things, and then we'll get to mistake, and presenting, okay? So stay tuned for that. Okay. One more question, please. Anshu's asked how to master ourselves because sometimes it happens like I want to do something, but didn't happen. What could be a tool to help me laser focus to achieve results? Okay. We can take a look at that. You are inspiring our little voices. Elbow cough, elbow cough. I am. I'm not trying to antagonize your little voice. I want to wake up your little voice and put them on notice that you know better and that you can deal with them. Okay, and you'll stand up to it. See, the little voice is most deadly when you don't even realize you've got one. You're just operating on autopilot because that's the way you've always done. You don't realize that there's something else driving it, which is your little voice. So I'm okay to wake it up. I'm okay for you to go unnoticed. I'm okay for you to take on that battle. How to win the war between your ears, okay? Second one, drifting. Drifting. This is another little voice issue, okay? By the way, none of these are in the book, my book. Here's another great book if you want to read it. It's called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. It's a recent release of an old manuscript that he had, and where he has this quote unquote conversation with the devil. Now, whether the devil's real or not, that's up to you to decide. But what the devil says is that he controls 98% of most people's minds because they drift. What does drifting mean? Drifting means unclarity of thought. In other words, let's look at what a non-drifter is. A non-drifter is a person that has definite purpose. They know what they're doing. They get the job done. They work at it. They make mistakes. They fail, but they don't waver from what they know they're supposed to do. And according to Napoleon Hill, that only represents about 2 to 3% of the population. Most people drift. They go from one shiny object, next shiny object. But most importantly about drifting, what drifting is not having clarity of thought, not being able to think for yourself. Think about this. Think if you know people whose opinions are swayed by other people. Think about that. By the media, by their friends, by their teachers, whoever it is, they don't think for themselves. They think other people's thoughts and they adopt those thoughts. So they hang around with this group of people for a long time. And so they're all about whatever they're thinking about. They hang around with another group of people. Now all they're thinking about is that. Those are drifters. And so what Napoleon Hill says, he says a person that's a drifter is probably never going to have ultimate success. So how do you combat this? Goal setting. Goal setting. Periodically, I say once a month or at least once every 6 weeks, sit down and do a goal setting process, whichever one you want to use. We have one. We have an amazing one developed by Matt Newton and myself to how to find out what you really want right now and go out and get it and do that. Stay focused. By the way, that'll also help the procrastination. It will keep you with a definite purpose. Doesn't have to be your purpose in life, but your purpose for the next 6 weeks, a purpose for the next 30 days, whatever that is. Stay focused on that and get yourself in the habit of creating a steering wheel for your life through using goals, okay? So again, watch yourself if you're drifting. What else comes with drifting? Drifting comes with sleepiness. Maybe all of a sudden in the middle of the day, you're sleepy, you're tired, and you don't know why, and you're lazy and you just don't want to do things. Why? Because you don't have definite purpose. Okay? So get definite purpose, goal setting, and eliminate drifting. And like I said, I don't know if it's 98% of the people drift, but Napoleon, it's a good read. He talks about all the reasons why we drift and how we're conditioned to do that by our schools, by our religious institutions, by our leaders. Because if you can drift, someone else can control you. If you have definite purpose, nobody can control you. Think about that. Great inventors, great leaders, they may not have a good purpose, they may not have a great one, but they have one and it keeps them directed. Okay? All right. Now, the third little voice issue that stops a lot of people is playing too small. Playing too small. Let's say you want to become a real estate investor and you haven't started that yet, and you decide you go out and look at property, so you're not procrastinating, but then you go out and you're not drifting because you got purpose right now, but you decide, well, I'm going to do this 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, single family dwelling. I'm going to pay this money for it, and that's it. That's the size of my game. Now, I'm not saying that's the wrong thing to do, but if that's where you end up, I'm going to say the game may be too small. Here's what I've learned over the years. Small games create big problems. Okay, because now that house, you're going to be all about broken toilets and plumbing and leaky roofs and needing paint and all that stuff. You might as well get a 20-unit apartment building, because you're going to have the same problems, but you're going to also be forced to have a team to help you with it. So the problems will actually be a little bit less, contrary to public opinion, right? Now, you got to figure out how to raise the money for that, but that's what you got a brain for. And again, you want to know how to do that, read Ken McElroy. He's another Rich Dad advisor. His principles of how to invest in real estate, proper real estate investing, and he could show you how to handle all those issues. But most people play game too small. How do I know this? Because I do it too. How do you overcome this? You overcome this by whatever your mission is in life, whatever your goals are, make sure you set a mission or a purpose in your life that's bigger than what you can do. Take something on that there's no way you could do it yourself. Now it forces you to get smarter. Now it forces you to play a bigger game. Now it forces you to start hanging around with better people. Okay? If you play small, the world will support you in playing small, and your results will be small, and your scope will be small, and the number of people you help will be small. Don't do that. If you're watching me, if you're tuning into this, play big. You may not ultimately get the big goal that you're looking for, but if you're continually expanding outward, hanging around with bigger players, bigger people, you'll get smarter and you'll get bigger and your results will go with it. Okay. So anyway, don't play small, play big. If you decide if you're new in a career, or you're looking for a new project or a new business or a side business, you take on something that you can do yourself, it's too small. Take on something that you can't do yourself. I met a guy, a college student, and he needed money to pay for college, for university. And so there was an organization at the school that teaches you how to be a painter, painting houses, painting contractor. Now, what most people do is they'll take the course. I don't know how many hours it is. They'll take the course and they'll go out with the materials and supplies and they'll paint houses. But this individual was very different. What he decided to do is he goes, okay, I'm going to learn how to do this. I'm going to get myself 3 crews. So he got like 3 or 4 groups of students, 4 or 5 in each group. And he went out and went door to door and sold the painting contracts and got all those guys to do all the painting. And he made all the money he needed for a whole year of tuition. Now that guy's an entrepreneur. Why? Because immediately most of us think, okay, I'm gonna go painting for a living or for a part-time job in order to be able to generate some income. But no, what he did, he decided to go bigger, create a team to do this for him, and he's obviously a very successful entrepreneur today. Okay, all right. So you gave me an answer why I feel sleepy, especially when I'm off from work. I need to set a goal. Yeah, you do. Small games create big problems. Yeah, that's true. I've trained the trainer with you and Gorilla Business with Alex. My little voice are gone, and I started mentoring groups. I still want to give me an origami gift. Well, I like that. I'm admiring you that your little voices are gone. Okay, I don't know that they ever go away. All right, so let me go back to some of your questions. Anshu asked, how do you make a powerful presentation? Okay, simple thing. Never, ever, ever be boring. Never be boring. Got it? If you want to make a powerful presentation, don't get in front of a camera and say, I'm going to make a powerful presentation today, and you're really going to love it. No. People think that because they get on camera, they're on a Zoom call or they're on a live stream, that because they have camera and lights, that everything's good. No, all the camera does is magnify who you are. So if you're boring, it makes your boring bigger. Okay. So what do? Remember this is that when it comes to presenting, there are 3 parts of your communication: words, your tonality, and your body and your physicalness, your body language. I almost forgot that. Okay. Now, what are the percentages? Now, if you've studied NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, you'll know that only 7% of the communication is in the words. Only 7%. 38 is in your tonality, which is your volume or your speed and how fast you talk, and softness and timbre and the way you vary your voice. okay? Or 55%, which is your body language, how you move and your facial expressions. And, I don't know how many muscles there are in your face, but all of them make a difference and attract or detract from what you're saying. So can you shift? So you want to make a powerful presentation, you should be able to be sad. And you should also be able to be angry. And you should be joyous and be able to laugh and joke with people. So can you shift that quickly? Can you do that? We teach people how to do that in some of our facilitation programs. But again, don't ever be boring. Don't ever be boring. How else do you do it? Well, if you want to be a powerful presenter, obviously have something that's relevant that people want to know about that they haven't heard about before, or a twist on a common subject that other people don't understand, that people are familiar with, but you have a different twist on it, okay? So, for example, you want to talk about objection handling. I think we talked about this before, right? Objection handling. And what's the most common objection? You type in and you come back and you say, well, most common objection is price. Okay, good. So here's the thing to know about price. Now, I'm going to tell you something, if you remember this from before, but I'm going to tell you something that's on the flip side of the coin that nobody's going to tell you. That if people continually object to price with you, it's probably because you're being cheap somewhere in your life. Right? Now, you weren't expecting that. So and I could go into that in a lot of detail. I'm using that as an example of a powerful presentation. Why? Because you take the flip side of the coin, a point of view that's accurate, but most people don't know about or don't think about. Okay? But in the beginning, again, if you're doing a live presentation of something that's that you prepared in advance, like a webinar or whatever, lots of visuals with a flip chart, visuals with some slides, visuals with your iPad, and be spontaneous with it. Don't do them in advance if you can help it. These are all things that will help you make a powerful presentation. And if you're doing a presentation, even here, the lag time's long, so I'm not doing it on a live stream. But if you ask lots of questions like, if you agree with me, type yes in the chat box. Good, excellent. Thank you. Okay, that livens it up. And plus, you put the heat on other people. Okay, so that's a lot of things that you can do. Do any two of them, and your presentations are going to get a lot better. Okay, now, Gaurav wanted to talk a little bit about, Marcia, be happy and tell stories. It's another thing you can do. But if you're going to tell a story, tell it with some expression. I'm going to tell you a story about one of the things that happened to me in my business. I'm going to tell you this story that completely changed my life. Okay, now is that a little bit different than saying, I'm going to tell you a story about my life? So again, part of it, it's not the words, it's not even the story itself, it's the way you tell it. It's the way you tell it with expression, feeling, and all those things. Because remember, that's the bulk of the communication coming across. All right, so mystique. Gaurav, okay, so you asked about that. Buckminster Fuller, you see a picture of him right there. There he is. Buckminster Fuller. And in that picture, the caption of that picture, he says, I like making mistakes. I made more mistakes than anybody. That's why I'm so smart. Why? Because that's how we learn. So, but as Gaurav was mentioning, trying to be perfect is probably the biggest mistake you can make, because there's no way to be perfect. If we have a true purpose in life as human beings, it's to make mistakes. That's how we learn. That's why now there's almost 7 billion people on this planet. Why? Because each generation learns from the perils of their generation. They pass that knowledge on to the next person. They pass that on to the next and next and next. And we become smarter. We live longer, and more people are able to live here. Okay? So that's pretty much evidence. I think the other thing that he said in Mystique, which is an article that we study at our Master Facilitator program, is he said we have, I think in the American or English dictionary, over 150,000 words, 150,000 words. Why do we have so many words? Because every word represents something else. The word itself is nothing, but the word phone represents this. So when I say the word phone, you think of this, okay? So we have a word for fun. We have a word for poison. We have a word for danger. We have a word for bankruptcy. We have words for all kinds of things that allow us to express these lessons of phones and trauma and happiness to other people without them having to experience it, right? So as Fuller would say, we're born helpless and naked on this planet. We wouldn't last more than about 20 minutes on our own if we were born like a giraffe is born out, on the African plains. So we learn from those mistakes. That is who we are. Let's say you set a goal for yourself. Let's say you set a goal over here. My goal is to write a book. Okay. So on my way to the goal, I'm going to be winning. I'm going to be losing. I'm going to be making mistakes, not making mistakes. I'm going to be making mistakes. I'm going to be correcting my mistakes. And so overall, what happens is it's an up and down jagged line until I get to my goal, right? So what Fuller would say is going and writing the book is not the main event. He would say that the ripple effect of this process of what's happening at 90 degrees to all that is the side effects are the most important effects. And what are the side effects? The side effect to any goal you set for yourself are the mistakes that you make. I'll say it again. The side events to any main event you're going for are the mistakes. And those are the most valuable things because that's how we learn. It's how we learn. It's that learning that we can teach to our kids, to our families, to our community, and to the people we work with. That's what Fuller was talking about mystique. So he said we were given a right foot and a left foot, not a right foot and a wrong foot. Okay? Not a right foot and a wrong foot. You make a mistake to the right, you make a mistake to the left. If you only had a right foot, you just walk and you'd be spinning in circles. So we're given both. So we make corrections to each side. That's how the universe works. No such thing as a straight line. No such thing. So right now, if you're frustrated because things aren't going exactly according to plan, they're never going to. Give it up. It's not going to happen. Embrace it. The key here is to make as many mistakes as you can, as fast as you can, and learn from them. In other words, if early in life, we make lots of mistakes. We hang out with this group, and then we hang out with that group, and then we go to university, or we go to school, or we go get a job or whatever, and we're just bouncing around out there. But as we get older, the mistakes don't decrease, but the size of the mistake can decrease if you're learning. Now, people that go through major losses and bankruptcies and health issues, not the only reason, but one of the reasons that happens is because they didn't learn their lessons when the mistakes were small. And so they keep building and building and building and keep repeating and repeating and repeating until all of a sudden you get the mother of all experiences, and it takes you down. Now that's devastating. Now you go into depression. However, understanding that every single one of those experiences was a lesson intended for you to get better and to improve your life. Okay? So try to be perfect will drive you crazy. And it's going to drive everybody around you crazy. I think Rob actually said it, is that the imperfection is the perfection. We are imperfect beings, okay? And that's what makes us perfect. Now, if we were gods or we were, amazing godlike beings, we would make no mistakes, but we do. And we do. Why do we do that? And a lot of the mistakes we make are self-inflicted. We create them ourselves. Why? Because we're not paying attention to the things that happen. We're not paying attention to the nuances. When people say, look, I don't understand what you're saying. You say, well, the guy's ignorant. And I'll find somebody else who understands. Well, you do that after a while, all of a sudden the world starts turning on you, okay? Perfection is boring, okay? Marcia said, I love Buckminster Fuller since your story about honey and money. Okay, good. Yes, honey and money. Small games, be happy and tell stories. Okay, good. So again, mystique. Very, very powerful piece by Bucky Fuller. I suggest that you read it. By the way, if you want to read it, I actually could give that to you. I'm not sure how to do that. Here's what you do. Go to blairsinger.com, info@blairsinger or whatever, and let me know that you would like Mystique, and I'll send you the PDF. It's an article. I will warn you, it is very difficult to read on your own. When we do this in some of our classes, I put people in groups of 3 to 5 people, and I only give them 2 paragraphs to read, and I give them a couple days to figure it out because he's very, very difficult to understand. But in a group, you'll figure it out. But if you're interested in that, give me an email at info@blairsinger.com or go to the website, put in a request, and I might have actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put it up. I'm going to put it up on the site so you can download. How's that? Is that good? If that's good, tell me good in the comment section. Download from site. I like that idea. Good. Then you can all learn about it. Okay? All right. Any other questions that you have on that? Playing big, playing small, okay, fear. Okay. Oh, okay. Another lesson for the week. Another little voice issue. Fear. Common. So let me just say something about fear. So fear. Have you ever had fear? Everybody. Okay? Fear. So everybody's got fear. Okay? Got it? Everybody has fear. F-E-A-R. Now Tony Robbins would say fear is all fear is false evidence appearing real. Okay. That's good. I don't know that it helps me a whole lot, but I know it when I got it. I got fear, and it can be debilitating. It can stop you. It can freeze you. I had the opportunity of doing some training, some leadership training for some amazing warriors. I mean, literally warriors. These are people that have fought in the Army, the Marine Corps, and the Navy. These are veterans that we're taking them through some leadership programs. And I was a little intimidated by them in the fact that some of these guys were Rangers, Delta, SEAL team. I mean, we're talking about the elite of the elite of the elite. And I'm saying, and I've never even served in the armed forces. And I'm thinking to myself, and I finally just admitted to the group, I said, you know what? I got to tell you the truth. I'm pretty intimidated by this group. And if I could share with you why, it's because I've never been in the line of enemy fire. I've never had to literally put my life on the line in front of enemy fire or in combat. And I don't know what I would do. I don't know if I'm brave enough. I don't know if I got the courage. I don't know if I had to, if bullets are flying, whether I would freeze, run, hide, charge, what I would do. And I know that all of you guys, meaning the people I was talking to, have all been through that. And so one of the fellows, his name was Tom. Tom served multiple tours of duty in Afghanistan. And he said to me, he goes, Blair, that's not what courage is. I go, well, no. He goes, everybody has fear. Every person has fear. He says, but courage is having the heart and the determination to move forward even though you're terrified. I'll say it again. Courage is having the fear, but being willing to move forward even though you may be terrified. Remember, the word courage comes from the French word le coeur meaning heart, to have enough of a heart to be able to move through it. Now, and in the program one of the programs I did with them, I had the opportunity to experience that myself, which is another story for another time. Changed my life entirely. Well, I'll tell you the story. You want to hear the story? Story was we were doing a program on tactical training for law enforcement officers. This was a dry run training for law enforcement officers, and we were so part of it is firearms handling. I'm not teaching that part. Firearms handling. Another one is hand-to-hand combat, and another one is the personal development, little voice mastery. Okay, and so I've never been in a fight. I haven't been in a fist fight or in a fight. Period. I've never been in a physical fight with fists, body, wrestling, anything like that. probably since 5th grade, since I don't know how old I was in 5th grade. Okay. But 5th grade. And never, I've always shied away from bullies. I'm just telling you the truth. I've shied away from bullies. I've always avoided it. I got really good at negotiating. That's why I'm so good in sales, because I could talk my way through lots of things without creating conflict. And even though all that threat of bodily harm and bullying is long gone now, that's way back in grade school, I still have never been in a fight, right? And so at the end of the training, they said, okay, so there's one more piece of this training. And they turned to me, and we had these mats out on the floor. They said, look, if this program, we as instructors are going to teach combat, then you have got to get in the ring and fight. And I'm going, are you serious? They go, yeah. So the only question is, are you going to do it or are you not going to do it? And, I had about 2 seconds to make that decision. And I don't know what was in my brain. I go, okay, I got it. So I put on the gloves and I had to go out and fight the instructors. I mean, these guys are professional, right? Now, I'm sure they took it easy on me, but I had the gloves on, had the headgear on, 3-minute rounds. And it was the longest 9 minutes of my life. But the one fellow, the Delta Force instructor from the Army, he was in my corner. And he said, before I went out, the music's blasting. He looks in my eyes. He looks right in my eyes. He says, okay, I want you to listen to me right now. And he's looking right at me. He goes, starting right now, you are going to eliminate one word from your whole being. One word. It's never going to show up again, at least for the next 9 minutes. And that word is quit. You will not quit. You understand me? I'm going, he goes, no, do you understand me? You will not quit. You may puke. You may get knocked out. You may crack a rib. You may break your nose. I don't know what's going to happen, but you'll get up and you'll keep going and you will not quit. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I'm going, and he talked to a part of me I don't think that had ever been spoken to before. Never. Ding! Time to go in the ring. I go out there and it's like, I didn't know what I was doing and I just started punching. And they're punching me and I'm punching. I mean, like I said, I'm sure they could have taken me out in a millisecond if they wanted to. And I'm just fighting and they're yelling to me and circle to your right, circle to your right. And I've never in my life have ever done that. Never did I ever foresee myself doing it. So it was an example of being completely terrified and just moving through it anyway. And I can tell you that after the first, I was so exhausted after the first round, I could barely lift my arms. I got 1 minute to sit in my corner and then back in for 3 more minutes. I go back out a second time. I don't even know where the strength came from. 3rd round. Now I'm wasted. My legs are wasted. I can barely breathe. I don't know if some of you may be in martial arts and understand all this. I have never done anything like that. And I don't know what it was, but something inside would not let me quit. The fear was long gone. The terror was long gone. The only thing left was to keep going, not quit, because that's what he had said to me. And just for three more minutes, I'm pounding and getting hit and pounding, getting hit and getting body punched, all this stuff. And at the end, it was over. And it was over. And I can honestly tell you guys, I've never had that level of experience in my life. Never. And at the end of it, Tom comes up to me. He goes, okay, Blair, so now you remember that question you asked me about courage? He pointed to me and he said, that is courage. And I just started crying. Because I never experienced it at that level before. I never experienced it. The thing that as a little kid, I was so afraid of getting beat up or getting hurt or something like that. And now all these many years later, that just got erased from my beingness. So I've changed a lot. But it answered a very, very important question about fear. Fear is always there, but the courage to go through it has got to be coupled with the little voice thought that no matter what, you're not going to quit. Now, there's a time to quit, obviously, but at least initially, until it becomes obvious that it's a futile endeavor, don't ever quit. Because when you quit, you create a pattern in your brain. And so the next time becomes easier to quit. And remember, quitting, there's a reward for quitting, because the reward for quitting is the pain stops. Whatever the pain is, whether it's emotional pain, financial pain, spiritual pain, physical pain, whatever it is, if you quit, there's a reward. And what's the reward? The reward is the pain is over for now. But the real pain will last forever, depending on what's going on. My mentor, Mac Newton, says about pain and fear and courage, all this stuff. He goes, pain is unavoidable. Suffering is optional. I'll say it again. Pain is unavoidable. Okay, because you're gonna go through some sort of pain, because you're gonna make mistakes, and some of them are gonna be painful. We talked about that already. But the suffering is optional. In other words, you suffer because you didn't make the decision. You suffer because you didn't pull the trigger. You suffer because you avoided it. You procrastinated. All the things that we talked about, that's suffering. Why? Because you know that you could have taken another step forward. You know you could have lived in fear at least for another 10 seconds to see what that was like. So suffering is up to you. It's optional. Pain comes with the territory. It comes with life. I learned a very, very powerful lesson about pain and courage. So I encourage you, all the things we talked about, drifting, procrastination, now fear, playing small games, step through the fear. Step through the fear. Now do it smartly. Make sure you got good people around you. Make sure you have decent mentors. Make sure you gain some knowledge before doing things or as you're doing them. But step through it, because that also becomes a habit. Max says, here's another thing. If there's something that causes you great fear, start small. Maybe you're afraid to talk to your boss about something. You're afraid to talk to your spouse about something. Okay? Maybe you're also afraid of insects. Like crickets. So start small. Before you go talking to your boss, you see a cricket jumping around, even though it kind of scares you, pick it up. Yeah, pick it up, take it outside, and let it go. Okay? Do some of that. Do something little to overcome little fears first, then go after the big one. Because either way, you make a habit. You make a habit of stepping through it. Okay? This is good? Okay, bueno. Thank you, Sylvester. Okay. Perfection is boring. Any other questions you might have? Okay. Teams, we talked about that before. So my commitment to all of you is that I'm going to take the Mystique article by Bucky Fuller. I'm going to have them put it on the site. And there's a free content section there. So if you want to go there to blairsinger.com, meantime, go check out the videos, how to master your little voice and overcome fear. There's a whole class on that at our website on blairsinger.com. And also every week we're putting up 3 or 4 new videos up on YouTube. So check those out, because watch them as many times as you want. Subscribe to the channel, get other people to join, subscribe, and share it with other people. Like it and share it, because that'll help us get the word out to people. These days requires courage. It requires courage. I mean, my heart goes out to those of you that are in India. I'm not sure what your media is saying, but our media, which I don't know that I can always believe, our media is showing that the virus is operating at unprecedentedly horrible levels right now. So my heart goes out to you, and hope that you stay clean, stay safe. Your loved ones are safe as well. But in those environments, it requires courage to do the right things, courage to tell people the truth, and courage to be who you are, regardless of what other people think about you. Just on that note, and I'm going to end with this unless there's some more questions. Thank you, Jeff Fallon. Mac is the man. Thank you. Thank you. He certainly is the man. And by the way, if you want to check out one of my mentors, MacNewton.com, M-A-C-K, Newton, N-E-W-T-O-N, MacNewton.com. Go check him out. He's got a ton of great stuff. And you listen to him speak for more than 2 or 3 minutes, he will light you up in a really good way. So go check him out. Go check him out. He's my coach. I worked out with him today. I work out with him 5 days a week, sometimes 6. He will wear you out. Okay. He's training me for Kilimanjaro. And when I can't, when my thighs are burning the worst, he goes, Blair, you're going to thank me. You're going to thank me come middle of July when you're coming down that mountain. You're going to say, thank you, Mac Daddy. Thank you, Mac Daddy. And I will. He's been a great friend. Okay. Okay. So what was I saying? I was saying be courageous. Just be courageous. You have 2 choices. There is always going to be people that don't like you. There will always be people that don't like you, and you don't even know why. It could be because of your name, your color of your hair. Could it be the way you talk? You have no idea why people don't like you. But don't live your life based upon whether people like you or not, okay? Be bold. Be courageous. You can be bold, courageous, take some risks, help a lot of people, change a lot of lives, even make a lot of money and be bold. And some people still won't like you. Or you can be meek and mild and hide in a corner and never get out of your comfort zone and, not make a lot of money, not change a lot of people's lives. And some people still won't like you, right? So either way, you got a choice. You could be rich and help a lot of people and people won't like you, or you could be meek and mild and never venture out of your comfort zone and people won't like you. Which do you prefer? A or B? Okay. Choose boldness. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it, as is said in the verse. And if you do that, we all win. If you can do that and teach other people to do that, then even more people win. Be a great teacher and leader. And again, thank you so much for being courageous. That's the message for today. That's what we ultimately got to. So thank you for being part of it. And see where you can be courageous this week. Stay in the fear for just a few more seconds. Step through it for just a few more seconds and see what happens. Okay? All right, you guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week, same time. Send in your requests if you have some specific topics you want to talk about and discuss. But today, your questions were awesome. Came up with several good ones. Mystique, how to make a presentation, and having courage. Okay? All right, you guys, be awesome.